Hey guys, it's Woody, the Unexceptional Gamer, and this is one of those things that's not really so much about the gameplay. I only played one game, actually, by myself, and I hardly ever play by myself, so I thought, I'd give it a go, because I see people get these really high KDs, and I played one game. I actually played two. The first one I entered really late. I went 6-2, and then this one here, which is not to say that every time I play a game I'll get a KD like this, but it is to say it's possible. It's not as big a deal as some people make it out. You just need to find a lobby with bad players, and you get scores like this. So, what I was going to talk about this time was what you're going to do when you grow up. So, it's a tough topic, and people, especially teenagers, are put in this position where they need to figure out what they want to do when they're grown-ups, but they don't have any experience that qualifies them to make this decision, and it's friggin' impossible. They say, hey, would you like to be an accountant? Would you like to be an artist? Would you like to be, a woodworker or a carpenter or what have you? And I picked up this noob tube on the ground. Wasn't it beastly? So I don't know that I have any great answers. My friends and I were talking about it for a while, and we work in IT, and we all do, fairly well, right? Like, you make a comfortable living, and you work in air conditioning every day. There's a ping pong table. You'd think it'd be great. But let's talk about some possible jobs. So there's computers. My advice on computers is, unless you love it, unless you have a passion for it, where you think, oh my God, I can't believe that people pay me to do this job, then it's probably not the job for you. Computers are kind of a good career at the moment. A lot of guys, you're an engineer, right? You make engineer-like money, and that's kind of nice, and then it's a respectable position, which sounds like nothing when you're 18, but it's kind of nice saying that you're an engineer when you're grown up and hold your chin high. The downside of it is I think it's a lot like manufacturing was in like the 60s or 70s, which if you were to say, look, I want to go into manufacturing right now, they'd say, what, are you crazy? You're competing with people who literally work for 25 cents a day, and it's a huge challenge, and I think that's where computers are at the moment. There's a globalization move here, right? So what that means is, some jobs are easily shipped overseas, and I don't mean to do that in any kind of Zionist way, but look, some tasks can be done remotely, and when someone is willing to do that task remotely for a whole lot less money, then you need to consider that when you're picking your choice. So if you love computers, there's still going to be jobs here for that. A lot of what we call the business where I work, the people who have the requirements, who need to have things built, they are here in the U.S. Or if you're in Europe, they are there in Europe, in the places where the money is. But more and more, these jobs will ship into places like India, into places like China, where people are willing to work for less money, and you can expect, along with globalization, in a lot of fields, sort of a global leveling of the pay scale. And if you are in India, that's awesome for you. If you're in America, that's not good for you. So, is IT a good job? Only if you love it. Only if this is your passion. Construction. So, I have friends and I've known people at all levels of construction, and that business is so cyclical. I don't think I'd want to be in it. It seems like all the guys at the top of the construction world, one minute they're going bankrupt, and the next minute they're multimillionaires. And you might not even be able to tell from the outside what kind of fluctuations they're dealing with, but I promise you, construction is a really kind of scary business, the way that it gets so hot and so cold all the time. The guys at the bottom of the ladder in construction, it seems like, when things are going well, they can make their rent and they buy a new car, and when things are going poorly, they're on unemployment and they're struggling to make their rent, and they're dealing with their creditors, and that's the top and bottom of construction. So it's a scary field. We were talking about, so all right, these are some of the pitfalls. What's a good job, right? What do you want to be? And there's kind of two balances here. First, are you the kind of guy that's excelling in school, right? Because if you're not doing well in school, that closes certain doors for you. But it's okay, and we're going to get to those jobs next. But if you are doing well in school, doctor's still a good gig. And I know you hear on the news all the time about these doctors who say that they can't spend as much time with people, that they're not making as much, that they have all these insurance woes. I know doctors, and it's still a good gig. And it's not. I don't think that. And I'm talking about the U.S. here. I don't really have. I don't know that how applicable my advice is for international. But the doctor thing is still a good job, and it will continue to be a good job for an awful long time. So, but not everyone's going to be a doctor, right? Not everyone has that going on. Oh, by the way, in terms of doctor, I think dentist is near the top. Those guys make a ton of money. Every dentist I know works 3 and 4 days a week and makes, $250,000 and better. Now, not every dentist does, but all the ones I know do. And small workloads are just the norm in that industry. They all arrange it that way, so it's kind of a good deal. So if you're a top of the classer type guy, then doctor's still a good gig. Engineer I'm a little concerned about because it gets shipped around so much, and finance is an interesting job too, but I think it's one of those gigs that kind of slowly sucks the life out of you over time, a lot like being an attorney, which is also a good paying job oftentimes, not every time, but a horrible one to actually do. The other thing, let's say that you're not that A+ student, that you're not Team Art, racking in best grades in your class out of hundreds of people. Let's say that you're a normal person. That's okay too, and I don't think it's really going to crush your income potential as long as you're hustling out there. So, if you graduate high school and you don't have any direction, the military is out there, and then you come out of that and you're better prepared. If you're not interested in the military, maybe that's just not your deal. I want you to take that job and prepare yourself for ownership, right? So I don't care if you're pushing a lawnmower, if you're becoming an electrician, if you're becoming a plumber, if you're becoming an auto mechanic, then you should be looking at what the owner of that place does and figuring out how you can be that guy. And this is an achievable goal for everybody, for everyone that's out there to work. And I just want to go on about that. But if you're an electrician, you can get a job as an apprentice. You're in a good living. You suddenly have a car. You have an apartment. Don't let your ambitions end there. Think about how you're going to be getting your license, how you're going to become, the guy that owns this place. The same is true with the plumber and etc. If you're out there pushing a lawnmower, think about all right, I'm pushing a lawnmower. Build your job skills. Figure out how to become that guy that owns the landscaping company, the guy that get your power washer, turn that into your business, and then explode from there. And painters, power washers, these guys make $250,000 a year. You just need to line yourself up to be in that ownership position. When you look at who the millionaires are in the world, they're not the guys that are the CEOs. They are the guys that own their own businesses. And if you come out of high school and you're not going to be a doctor, then you can line yourself up to be that business owner and still have a great job. I saw this great quote recently, and it said that entrepreneurs are the people who are willing to live like most people aren't, so that they can later live like most people can't. And if you keep that in mind, that's so true. So there's some career advice, and it was kind of short, but I thought I'd cover that, and I hope you got something out of it. And in the comments, if you guys want to talk to each other about good jobs and things you think are working well, then we can turn this into kind of a forum and chat about it.